Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch action genre movie called Blitz. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle, I greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. The film begins with Tom sleeping on his couch. When he wakes up, he goes to his room window and sees a thief attempting to steal someone's car. Tom immediately goes out and confronts them. He warns them to leave, but they refuse, and a fight ensues. He severely assaults the thieves and threatens to kill them if he ever sees them again. Tom escapes, but the next day word spreads that he severely abused some innocent boy. Following this incident, the media is now focusing on him and his entire department. The department is concerned about Tom, so they refer him to a counselor for help. However, Tom is rude to even the counselor, and he begins smoking in front of him. When the man tries to stop him, he threatens the counselor before returning to the police station. We then see Elizabeth, a constable who comes to see Tom. She informs him that she has been working undercover for quite some time. She was on a mission against drug dealers, so she had to take drugs while disguised to show the dealers that she was one of them. Elizabeth tells him she then began using drugs and was sent to rehab when she returned. When she returned from rehab, she took the test again, but she failed the sergeant test, which is why she was demoted to constable. Tom tries to console her, but she appears to be depressed. Tom then goes to see Bruce Roberts, a chief inspector with whom he works. His wife has recently died, and as they go to see her body, Bruce becomes upset, so Tom takes him to a bar. Tom attempts to cheer up Bruce while they drink, and he is somewhat successful. In the following scene, we see a female police officer walking down the street when a man in a hood approaches her and shoots her. Tom discovers this and arrives at the crime scene. Everyone asks him about Bruce, but he says he is still grieving the death of his beloved wife and will not be working for it. They cannot, however, ignore the murder of a police officer. They appoint a replacement inspector. The man's name is Porter Nash for Bruce, but the other officers dislike him and refuse to work under his command because the word on the street is that Porter is gay. However, a superior officer has made it abundantly clear to them that they will report to Porter. As a result, they have no other option. Porter, to his surprise, discovers an unlikely ally in the head-headed gruff. Detective Sergeant Tom, who has a history of violence, is on the case. While the investigation is ongoing, Elizabeth is visited by a friend, a young gang member known as Metal, who is concerned that his gang may have killed someone and promises to look into the situation. She informs the boy that this is the last time she will do him this favor, and that if the man is dead, he must leave the city, and if the man is alive, he must leave the gang. She then goes to see Tom, who, after hearing the entire story, invites her to see. Elizabeth then contacts Detective Inspector Craig Stokes, who agrees to assist her in exchange for a date. Then we see a reporter receive a phone call from a boy named Barry, who informs him that he is the one who shot the police officer, and that his work is not done here. In the coming days, he plans to target more police officers. As he speaks, he walks over to another officer and shoots him as well. Barry then informs the reporter that he has 8 more police officers on his list. The news spreads quickly, and Porter comes to see Tom and asks him if he is the man everyone says he is. As they converse, Tom realizes Porter knows a lot about him. When they learn that another police officer has been killed, they begin to arrest all of the city's criminals. They contact all of their spies and order them to be more active. Tom visits one of his informants in the city, Radner, who directs Tom and Porter to a man named Barry Weiss, who recently boasted about setting fire to a police dog for practice. Despite their visit to Barry's flat, Tom and Porter are unable to find any evidence against him right away. When Barry opens the door, he sees a police officer standing in front of him. He is initially perplexed, but as a skilled assassin, he manages to keep himself. Tom recognizes Barry as the man he fought in a billiard hall a year before. He then makes fun of Barry before leaving with Porter. Barry, on the other hand, immediately takes some of his belongings and goes out to hide them somewhere. However, Tom's informant follows him and learns where Barry hides his belongings. Radner decides to conduct his own investigation and eventually discovers the seemingly abandoned car where Barry keeps his kill trophies, confirming that Weiss is the murderer. Throughout this, we see Bruce go to a store to get some liquor, and it dawns on him that he is destroying his life. He makes the decision to return to work. He reports to the police station and goes back to work. As he walks out, we notice Barry following him. It turns out that Bruce is Barry's next target. Bruce leaves for home, and Barry follows him. Barry knocks on Bruce's door, and as Bruce opens it, Barry attacks. Bruce, as a police officer, does not back down from a fight. He obtains a hammer, and as he is about to strike Barry with it, Barry snatches the weapon from him and strikes him numerous times with it. He begins to watch TV and visit Bruce's house after killing him. He steals his uniform and flees his home. Barry calls the reporter again, this time to inform him that he has murdered the 3rd police officer. He then tells the reporter that he wants his name in the press the next day and tells the reporter to call him Blitz. Tom then learns that Bruce has been murdered. He is shocked because Bruce was a close friend of his. On the other hand, we see Barry stuffing his belongings into the boot of a car. Tom's informant, on the other hand, has been following him and watching everything he does. He goes to the car and notices Barry's belongings. The informant then contacts the same reporter and informs him that he is well aware of the situation. He then attempts to strike a bargain with a reporter. He demands $50,000 for the location of all evidence proving who the murderer is. The reporter agrees and asks where he needs to go. The informant gives him the parking lot's address. The reporter goes there right away, and the informant shows him the items in the car. He doesn't believe everything, but he knows this is Bruce's uniform. The reporter, on the other hand, agrees to give him. Meanwhile, Barry has been keeping an eye on everything. He notices that this inebriated individual has brought a reporter with him. As they leave, Barry moves all of their belongings elsewhere. Elizabeth goes to see Craig and asks if that guy is dead, but he says he is not. He was just hurt. He then tells her that the man hasn't even revealed his name yet. Elizabeth then asks Craig what she can do for him in return, and he says all he wants is a drink. She says she'll agree tomorrow night. The reporter, on the other hand, takes the informant to a bar and hands over all of the money. He then states that he needs to use the restroom. The reporter asks him to tell him the name of the killer, but he says he'll tell him after he gets out of the bathroom, when he uses the restroom. We can see Barry in that bar because he has been followed. Barry follows him to the bathroom, and the old man begins to shift as he sees the killer. He begs for his life, claiming that because he has not yet given up his name, he does not deserve to be killed. But Barry has no concept of mercy, and he goes on to murder the informant and flee with $50,000. Dunlop, the reporter, calls the cops, who arrive to find the car empty. Tom and a fellow cop realize that all of Blitzer's victims have been police officers who have previously arrested Barry, and that Elizabeth is most likely the next. Elizabeth is attacked by Barry after returning home from her date with Stokes, but she is saved by Metal, who is killed in the ensuing struggle. The police arrive just as Barry is about to attack Elizabeth again. To flush Barry out, Tom and Porter decide to release a picture of him to the media, which eventually leads to Barry's capture after a lengthy chase. However, because there is no concrete evidence against him, the police are forced to release Barry after 48 hours and an effective interrogation. Exasperated, Tom and Porter devise a scheme to dupe Barry, knowing that he will want vengeance on Tom for the billiard hall brawl. Barry then infiltrates Chief Inspector Bruce's funeral while dressed in Bruce's uniform. During the service, Tom and Barry leave together, and Tom leads Barry to the top of a parking garage, only to discover that Tom and Porter had switched places along the way. Barry is mercilessly beaten, overpowered, and relieved of his by a hidden Tom. They will never find enough evidence to convict Barry, they say. Legally, Tom concludes that they are now in a favorable situation because Barry is dressed as a cop and Tom has Barry's gun. They can shoot him with his own gun, making it appear as if Barry was one of Blitzer's victims. Tom shoots Barry to death with that thought in mind. Porter then proceeds to get rid of everything. After Barry is killed, Tom decides he needs to teach the reporter a lesson, so he unleashes the dogs on Dunlop for writing articles against him and the police for coverage. We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you.